everybody. Welcome once again to the Journal. And of course, I can't end this Saturday night without talking about something historical that happened on this particular day 22 years ago. And that is the fight, the millennium of the century. Or I should say, the fight of the millennium. There we go. The fight of the millennium. And that is Oscar de la Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. And at that point, both of them were undefeated. And this was a great pay-per-view event because it was the very first fight that I can remember as an 8-year-old watching it from start to finish. And this is when we had the black cable box. I remember that we all went to my parents' room to watch the fight. It was me, my parents, my siblings, and I think one of my uncles from my mom's side of the family came. And I know that, and also my uncle's ex-wife's oldest son also came over here. So that room was jammed packing because, you know, it was the fight of the millennium, Trinidad versus De La Hoya, and both of them were undefeated. And at that time, De La Hoya, as the legend Larry Merchant said it best, that De La Hoya is George Clooney with fists. And it's so true because at that time, not only was he a great fighter, but also he had a way with the ladies. And Trinidad, you know, he was a great fighter. I wasn't a fan of him. And this fight was the early beginning of why I wasn't a fan of Trinidad. But he was a great fighter. He's one of the best Puerto Rican fighters ever. And just overall, great boxer. So anyway, on this particular day, Saturday, September 18th, 1999, you had both of these fighters going at it. And it's painful for me to remember this because to this day, I feel that De La Hoya got robbed in the fight against Trinidad. I feel like he won more rounds than Trinidad. But as you guys know, boxing, when you leave it to the judges, is never the right outcome of the fight. And we've seen this many times. For example, the Whitaker versus Chavez fight in 1994. If you look at the fight, especially the highlights, Whitaker, he gave Chavez the great Chavez a boxing lesson, but the judges called it a draw. The Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns in the second fight, I feel that Tommy Hearns won that fight, but they called it a draw. What's another fight that I can remember where the judges didn't do justice? Yes, the Triple G versus Canelo, the first fight. Triple G, you know, he won that fight, but one judge, I'm not even mentioning her name, but that one judge just gave a horrible score in favor to Canelo Alvarez. So, but the De La Hoya and Trinidad fight, like I said, they were both undefeated, but it really, at an early age, it left me a very bad taste in my mouth to see Trinidad win that fight when in reality, De La Hoya had that fight won. But there's nothing we can do about it now. It's been 22 years. It's not like they're going to change the result. It is what it is. It happened, but the positive out of that fight is that it was great to see two Latino fighters undefeated in their primes going at it, because as you guys know, in boxing, it's very hard to get two great fighters in their primes to make the fight happen. We always see them, like it would have been interesting to see Tyson and Lennox Lewis in their prime fighting, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. in their prime fighting. And there was even fights that I wish it were happening, but it never got to happen, like Andre Ward versus Triple G, Triple G versus Manny Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao versus Canelo. There's many fights that us, the fans, we want to see, but the promoters and more people in the boxing industry won't give us those fights. But that's that's the situation in the boxing world. This is Miguel Mike Medina. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel.